that will allow you to become successful. And for success to me is knowing that I am in control of my life. I think feeling like you are, I think I watched one of Paul's videos, which was brilliant on the app, talking about your why. And I think often a lot of the people that I speak to feel trapped, feel like they have got an anchor tied to them, feel like they can't do things, feel like because of, I don't know, whether they're because of their age, because of their colour, because of where they started in life, there's this idea that, you know, that's not for me. So for success, I feel successful when I'm in control of where I'm going. And I think that my life now, I feel successful. I wake up, I have full control over my thoughts. If any time in my life I feel stuck, I know how to reach out and ask for people. And I have this idea, which I spoke about, I can't remember why, but it's called the 3 R's. And it's about packing your rucksack, having a rucksack on your back and making sure that you have the 3 R's. And the 3 R's are being able to, whenever anything goes wrong in your life, to know, first of all, I have to recognize. So self-awareness has been important for me for success, being aware that I'm struggling. So recognizing that I'm struggling. And then the second R is being able to reach out to somebody and reach out in a way where I can ask them for what I need. And then the third R I talk about is reaching out to somebody who's reliable, because often when you are on a journey, you could reach out to somebody who doesn't have the emotional capacity to help you with what you need, and that can often floor you. So success to me is, first of all, knowing that I can achieve anything that I set my mind to, and knowing that if at any point in my life I can recognize it, I can reach out to somebody who is reliable and who's not gonna use my vulnerability as a weakness and then floor me. So yeah, success to me is knowing that I'm in full control of my life and I can achieve anything, and that I have control over my mind. So that would be mine. Thank you so much. I'm done speaking.
Thank you, Iffy, for sharing that. Makes sense to me. I often think, especially for me, I don't know about you. Good morning to you, Ashley. I haven't introduced you. That's really bad of me, isn't it? You're there. Yeah, hello.
Hello. How you doing?
Oh, you're on mute. There we go. You're not on mute anymore.
Oh, that's better. Oh, I'm glad I was on mute then.
You all right?
Yeah, I'm good.
We're a bit casual this morning, aren't we?
Yeah.
James, we've let the standard slip big time this morning, mate.
Yeah.
We've got Ashley's coming in a tracksuit. I've put a hooded top on and a baseball cap. It's because you're not here. We've let the standard slip. The boss is away. That's what it is.
The brand boss is away.
Yeah. James is not here with us this morning. He's off on a family holiday, although he's here in the clubhouse room, but he's decided to go off on a family holiday. He didn't invite us.
No, but again, he loves a holiday, doesn't he?
He does. And did he ask you if he could go on holiday?
This is what I was thinking yesterday. I was thinking
he slips it in at the last minute, doesn't he? He slipped it in at about 5:05 last night. Oh, by the way, guys, I'm away on holiday next week. And Paul, can you do all the app work?
Yeah, it was. It was. I think the final bits were like 10 o'clock last night. James was just like, "Here's this, here's that, here's this, here's that," and yeah, I'm not around in the morning.
He's not flashing. He must not be listening. Oh well. Right, guys, what does success mean to you? Flash your microphones. What I was about to say there, I often feel that sometimes, is success a place that you ever reach? Does it always change? It's a never ending. I know for me, I never ever really, which is bad of me, celebrate any form of win. Like it's always just, put that one away, that's done. What's the next one? There's always another level, another target, or something else to aim for. So do we ever reach that point of success?
When I was younger, I used to think it was a place. I used to think there was a finish line. I used to think it was a bracket that you hit, and it was a film, Pursuit of Happiness.
What a great film, by the way.
That changed everything for me. Like you said, you're always in the pursuit of happiness. So then it made me reflect of enjoy the journey, because I was never satisfied. Early on, no matter what money I had, I wanted the next thing. So I had to not get content but enjoy what I had and enjoy every part of the journey. And it was the pursuit of happiness that changed that. I think that's I watched that film when I was younger. Then I watched that film when I understood personal development. And then that film is just
Legend of a film. What a great film that is.
Yeah, I don't really watch much TV or films, but that film is just like, if you know, once you understand about hard work and business and you see what he's doing and you just think, wow.
My garden, I often have moments where I sit in my garden, like the kids are all playing and it's a nice summer's day or something like that, and I often sit and a smile will come to me, and that's the closest I could probably feel.
A smile?
No, yeah, I do smile occasionally, but the point being, you're ruining the story. The point being is that is probably the closest feeling to success I've probably ever felt. It comes on me occasionally, not very often, by the way, but like occasionally I'll sit there and I think, oh, what, this is really nice. Like, I'll be enjoying the moment. I think, oh, is this what success feels like? But then it goes and I'm thinking of something else, or the phone rings and you get onto something else. So right, guys, flashing microphones. What does success mean to you? Who's that flashing? That's Rihanna. Let's go to Rihanna, and then we'll go to our radio DJ star, Melissa.
Yeah, she has to go because she's a DJ star now.
Yeah, she's took big time for us. Rihanna.
Good morning, Paul and Ashley. Good morning, everybody. So success in the terms of the amount of people I want to be able to help and have them on their own journey from having worked with me, and seeing them go off and be incredible from the work we've done together. And then there's personal success, and the personal success for me is knowing that I can handle anything. So at the moment, on a conscious level, I'm like, yes, I can handle anything that's thrown at me. I know that I can handle anything, but that's what I can tell myself, like affirmations, tell myself. But inside, I know that I don't know that I can handle anything, because I still have fear, and there are still things that stop me from doing things. So when Beju said yesterday, if you knew you could succeed, what would you do? And there were things that I just knew straight away. If I know that I would succeed in these things, I know I would do them. And that comes back down to me thinking I can't handle something. So when I don't sit there and think, and maybe this will never come, but when I can sit there and know I can handle anything, and then that doesn't stop me from doing the things I want to do, and whether it's traveling places or whether it's taking something new on or following a new opportunity, when I know that I can handle it, when I know that I can handle it, that's when I've reached my personal success. So I'm Rihanna Red, and I'm done speaking.
Thank you, Rihanna. Brilliant. I'm going to quick fire move through as many people as we can, just so before 7 o'clock when we've got Pete coming on.
We've got the famous DJ.
Big time. Hello. Good morning.
Good morning, guys. Good morning, winners. Hope you are well. You've had a good week. So I started flashing when Ashley was talking about the fact about it being sort of a feeling about the film In the Pursuit of Happiness. So I wanted to share with you guys, for the people that haven't read it or don't know about it, Harvard did a study, and it was done over 75 years. And it's the longest study that was ever done on adult development and linked to happiness. And what they found at the end of it, and they studied many different people over many different years, many different backgrounds. And what they found in the correlation was that it was about meaningful relationships. And they basically say that actually, based on the study, that our main motivation in life is actually to have meaningful relationships. So as we get older, that's what we're really aiming for, and that's what we attribute to success, which is quite interesting. So, when I was looking at what I want to achieve, I often get scared about achievement, because to me, what I feel, the things that I achieve, and as I move forward in my life, I feel like it's going to affect the relationships around me, which kind of ties in with the whole Harvard study, and the fact that I love the people that are around me. I don't want that to change. And sometimes we don't have control of that. I get that. But as long as, I can have meaningful relationships with people and still keep going forward and making a difference, then that is what I believe success is. So I'd suggest anyone to check out the study. It's really good. And thank you for letting me speak this morning, guys. Back to you, Paul. Cheers.
Thank you for speaking.
Big time.
Just tell us what that study was again, Melissa.
It's the Harvard study, the 75 years on adult development.
Brilliant. Okay, go and check that out. Have a look at that. James, you wasn't listening before, but you're obviously clearly there. We were saying we've let the standards slip because you're not here today. We've come in very casual, and you didn't give us a holiday notification form, by the way. So we'll have to discuss that when you come back.
I'd forgotten about the holiday notification form in my house. So let's
quite clearly when you dropped it on us at 5:05 last night that you was not here for the next week.
It's only off half live, isn't it?
Positively pressure test, because as a wise man once said, it's only when you can walk away from your business for up to 90 days. I don't want to have a profitable job, so I can only test your competency, which quite frankly is questionable right now. If I positively pressure test you, so think of this as this holiday is not for me. This holiday is for you.
Brilliant. Right, flash of microphones. What does success look like to you, James? Tell us.
It looks like leaving the house before 8 o'clock without anybody falling out this morning. And I'll be honest, I don't think success is coming. Ask me another day.
Oh, brilliant. Right, guys, flash of microphones. We've got about 12 minutes before I'm going to go to, should we go to, we'll go to Holly and then Cara. Holly, good morning.
Good morning, Paul. To be quite honest, success to me looks like Paul Abercrombie right now. To be able to sit in your garden and say, oh, this is nice.
It's a very rare moment, Holly. Very rare moment. We're going to ask for
in this weather in England. It is very rare.
I need a picture or look at his CCTV for proof.
Yes. I've lost you, Ashley.
I just said I need a picture of this smiling in the garden. Then I would believe it.
Right. Well, let's choose another thing. Hopping in the plane, lying in the hot tub, having a swim, nipping across to Europe. It's all sounding beautiful to me. And I just think you guys are amazing. This app launch has been amazing. And I think pat yourselves on the back. And Paul, stop every 10 minutes, breathe, relax. Tell yourself you're amazing because you are a success.
James, can you hear this?
I am enjoying every second of this, Holly. Keep going. Keep going until 7 o'clock. You've got 12 minutes still. Go.
I hope you enjoyed that, but I'm looking at you with great admiration on my phone right now. So I think that's success. I'm Holly. I'm done speaking.
Oh, thank you, Holly.
We need to... Beju, we need some mindset training here, my friend.
I'll try and capture that moment on camera next time I have that picture of feeling happy in my garden.
I did message Paul last night about his
the Peloton challenge. Yeah, I'm going to start that. So if you missed the business room last night, I was not having a moan, but we were speaking quite open and vulnerable and honest. And I said, I'm not quite happy with my state of fitness at the moment, so I'll have to improve. And through a combination of Beju and Lauren and just people trying to coach me, I've agreed to exercise every day for 30 days. So there we go. Beju, I'm going to do it. I didn't get a chance to do it this morning because obviously I left the house at 5 a.m. to come here to the studio, but I will do it when I get back later this morning.
Just message me when you go.
I will do. Right, Cara, wasn't it? Good morning, Cara.
Hi, everyone. I really enjoyed the interview yesterday, so thanks for that. That was really great. And love everything about what you guys are doing. So, thank you so much. Everyone here has just inspired me and helped me so much, and I'm just so grateful. And on the subject, I just want to say that success for me is feeling fulfilled, just feeling fulfilled in what I do, being aligned with my values, and being in an environment that supports that. Because when I felt my most unhappiness is when I'm in jobs that I'm not able to align with my own values. So I think that's actually really important. And I like to better help people. So when I'm doing something where I'm helping people, that makes me feel good. And also you're reaching goals. So whatever my goals are at that time, reaching those goals, and just generally feeling happy and content in what I'm doing. And then also enough money to enjoy my life and do the things I want to do. And then I also loved what Iffy and Rihanna said about being able to handle anything, feeling sort of strong enough to be able to handle anything that comes my way. So love all the shares. Thank you all so much.
Thank you, Cara. Are you here going to do any work this morning, Ashley?
No.
No, okay. Right, flash
No,
off,
just
flash off mics. Keep flashing so I can see. Dow, good morning, my friend.
Good morning, winners. Well, success for me is.
Stretch Armstrong. Just reminds me of Stretch Armstrong now.
Stretch Armstrong.
He's got this big.
Do you know what that was, lads? That was just a filter on Zoom when you saw that. That wasn't really me. I'm actually quite slim. Oh gosh. So anyway, success to me is a perfect combination of pride and happiness, and that's all it is really. Because one thing I've had to understand with success is that you are the architect of it, and you are the one that governs your way to get there. So for me, sex is sex. The reason why I said sex is because it's coming. Success is fluidity, because it changes. When I was 16, it was my GCSEs. When it was 17, I just wanted to have sex, and that was success to me. But now it comes becoming a wonderful relationship. Now success is being happy within my company, within my business, and I know my future success will be to impact over 1 million kids worldwide. So oh my God, what's wrong with me today? Success is fluidity. I need to get this off my mind. Success goes up and down, and it changes. So I really, really hope, by the way, this isn't going to be a mic drop moment. It doesn't deserve to be a mic drop moment. Where's Beju to control me? Beju, where are you, bro? Come on, sort me out. Yeah, anyway, that was my very discombobulated thoughts today, lads. There you go.
So
I was on the right. So you what was up and down?
Ignore it, mate. It's cool.
Another Saturday moment for Dale. Another Saturday.
Yeah.
We have a special mic drop Saturday moment for Dale.
So what we're basically saying is so far that success is a feeling, not a destination. That be right?
Yeah, pretty much.
I would say that after, on my journey, I used to earn quite good money when I worked in the city, and I would say
you felt successful in that period.
And then it dies very, very quick, and then I think just like looking at my kids, feeling content, being happy.
Everybody that's mentioned something about success this morning has mentioned feelings, not a place, not this magical place that you picture in your mind that like is a room that you sit in that is success.
Well, the thing is I think you look up to people and you look at people's way of life, and you're only looking at the exterior, and you think that's success. So.
Yeah, wow. Right, okay, guys, we'll take a couple more. We've got Pete Cohen coming in at 7 o'clock just to quickly discuss his new book with us, which members of the Winners Club participated in. Then at 7:30 a.m. this morning UK time, we got the great Tim Storey joining us for a keynote, and then some Q&A after, hopefully. I'm going to come to Habiba. Good morning, Habiba.
Morning, Paul. Morning, everyone. So I'm slightly different from everybody else, and I don't think that success is a feeling or a destination. For me, success is about the journey, and the best definition of success I've come across is Earl Nightingale's definition, which is that success is the progressive realization of a worthy ideal. So for me, it's about having goals, knowing where I want to go, writing down my goals, taking action, and moving closer towards where I want to be. And if I'm making progress, I feel like I'm successful. So it's all about moving forward. So that's me. I'm Dr. Habiba, and I'm done speaking. Thank you.
Brilliant. Thank you, Habiba. Once again, feelings. So it all goes back to feelings. Success is a feeling, not a destination. Right. Keep flashing, guys. Let's try and get through as many of these as we can. Elena, good morning. Going to come to you.
Oh, good morning. I was actually clapping.
Oh, wonderful. Okay.
But it is a feeling, and I think all paths lead to the same place. So as long as I'm on a path with a heart, I'm on the right path. And I think the biggest success for me is laying on a beach, watching the sunrise, and then swimming in the sea as the sun is rising. I love the beach.
It has been far too long since I've been to a beach. Jesus.
Exactly. Me too. Last September.
Yeah. And if you're here in the UK, what can you believe that? Can actually you believe it's August in the UK? When I left home this morning, it's 13 degrees, which is just
success is a beach.
Yeah, success is a beach. Certainly not the M11 like I was on this morning at 13 degrees. No. Rob, I think you was flashing, so going to come to you.
Yeah, morning, Paul. I actually quite like the combination of the two concepts of it being both a journey and a feeling. And the reason for that is that I do something that I set out to do as a kid. I got the dream job that I always wanted. And at the very beginning of that, it was something which was incredibly aspirational. So I looked at those people who were doing what I wanted to do. And then when I reached that point of where they were at, it became a feeling. So I'd argue that it's actually a combination, a very healthy combination of being both a journey and a feeling.
Brilliant. Thanks, Rob. Pete is running a little bit late, so Pete's going to come at about 7:10. So we'll keep the conversation going till 10 past, and then we'll come to Pete to talk about his new book. David's going to come to you. Morning, David.
Morning, guys. Great room. Success is waking up every morning and getting to do another day, in my personal opinion on it, because I used to chase the money and chase everything, but at the end of the day, when everybody was interviewed, like all the billionaires and millionaires, they never once said, oh yeah, I want money or I want the fancy car. They trade it for the time on the planet. So what we tend to do is we tend to forget to live in the now. So success for me is being able to start another day and to help others, and that's my success. So I'm going to hand the mic back.
Brilliant. Thanks, David. Right, keep flashing, guys. This is great. So let's just try and get as much of these. Jagdeep, going to come to you.
Good morning, everyone. Thank you. I really back off yesterday's success and choice. I really loved what Beatty said yesterday about choices and sacrifice, because it really made me think that my parents never actually, well, my parents made a choice to bring us from another country to settle in the UK nearly 30 years ago. And those led to us thinking about what is, they never thought about success. Theirs was more, we want a better life and a better education for children. Culturally, that's how it is. But for me, success is every day, from starting my business from a front room to a few years later, moving into a first commercial property. That's success. Success is after that, a few years later, moving into a bigger property. Success is you're the family experiencing that whole journey. Success was last week. My daughter passed her GCSEs, and all these things happen every day, and we kind of not realize that we have to specifically define success. Success was like the gentleman just said just now, waking up this morning, finishing off the day is Friday, sitting with the family, all the friends, and saying, do you know what? I succeeded this week and I've done it. And that, my friends, is success. Thank you.
Thanks, Jagdeep. You're very right. Those little feelings, just like when Ashley Shipman pulled into the car park this morning at 6 o'clock, and I saw your beaming smile. I thought, that is it. This is success. This is it. It's success. No matter what happens today, I've got success.
Please tell my wife that at the same time in the morning.
Ryan Nurse, good morning.
Good morning, all of you wonderful winners. And yeah, thanks for the amazing shares, guys. So my share this morning, I believe that success is subjective. Like what maybe or look like success for you might not be, and obviously vice versa. And what David said is waking up is success, because if you think about it, so many individuals around the world haven't opened their eyes today. And we all open two gifts every single morning, and that's our eyes, and that's why they call it the present. But success, in my eyes, is having, say, a why to live. Like you wake up every day, and you've got that why. You've got something to go after, and it's, say, having that why, that purpose, and moving closer to it on a daily basis. But just know that the road to success is always under construction. There will be difficult times, but you don't just stop and say, unpack your bags there. You just keep moving forwards and just heading towards that why, because the why is the ultimate goal. But it's like the horizon. You're never going to get there. The closer you get to it, you should be moving further away. Because if you think like football players, for instance, their main goal or target is to become a sort of world-class football player. But once they've hit that, then what they do after it, So you need something to head towards on a daily basis. And just as I finish up, like success, it isn't a destination at all. to just a why to move closer to on a daily basis. So that's my share, and thank you guys.
Brilliant. Thank you, Ryan. Right. We've got about 9 minutes. Flash your microphones if you want to participate on the conversation. This is a follow on from yesterday morning. Yesterday, we spoke about sacrifice and success, but I feel like we covered a lot of sacrifice yesterday and not really the success part. So just one simple question. What does success look like to you? I'm going to go to Jacob. Let's keep these short and sweet if we can, guys, so we can get as many in before Pete Cohen comes on at 7:10. Jacob, good morning.
Good morning, beautiful souls. Love from Ireland. Success to me is that thin line, that measurement of getting whatever I intend to get. If I went through hardship to get whatever I was looking to get, that when I get it, I don't even give it them, because it was just damn too hard. And if the success is not even on the other side, maybe the outcome was bad, what did I achieve what was I able to learn from it? What was I able to gain from that journey? So for me, is the degree, the measurement, the less effort. That's, for instance, I was in England. I could not afford, I was working very hard. I was kind of successful, but I could not afford those stuff I wanted to afford for myself and for my son. But when I moved to Ireland, I could put my son in a beautiful private school with less effort. When I set up my company over here, with less effort, maybe 100%, I wouldn't be able to have done in England. I was able to do it here because it's more and more friendly and more opportunity cost country. So it's the ease of getting to wherever I'm going to that is success to me. Otherwise, when I get there, I'm like, it was too hard work. So damn, I would not even appreciate whatever I was looking for or getting to. Thank you.
Thanks, Jacob. Sounds like you got some great jazz playing there in the background.
Yes, man.
Brilliant. Right. Nazrin, good morning.
Good morning, everybody. Oh, God, it's such a pleasure to be on the stage with you all. Success for me is, I'm going to say what success is for me, but just give like a couple of sentences of why I got to saying what I say to myself now. It's when I sit down and I smile and I think, yeah, this is the life. That is my success. And the reason being was because going back a few years, I used to say, this is not the life. This is not the life that I want. And making those changes from 16 years ago of going to a neighbor and lying about borrowing some milk because I've got some unexpected guests, so that, I've got to make these cups of teas and blah, blah, blah. And it was really because I needed to feed my 2 babies and I had no money and I had nothing. And thinking then with the difficulties and challenges that this is not the life. This is not the life that I need and deserve. Now, every time I sit and I think, yeah, this is the life. The children are happy. I'm happy. We're comfortable. We're secure. This is the life. So saying to myself, this is the life, is my part of success. Thank you.
Brilliant. Thanks, Nazrin. What a share. Okay, guys, a few more we've got time for.
Just a quick one as well. The normal mods, just bear with me. Give me 5 minutes and I'll mod you all. Just got to wait for Pete to come in just so he's...
we've got a couple of guests coming in this morning, so we'll just...
Give us 5-10 minutes and that's all.
Rearranging the stage accordingly. So just bear with us, guys. Quick flash of microphones, keep flashing so I can see. I'm trying to get some different voices in this morning as well. So keep flashing.
The universe is flashing.
The universe. She's manifested her way into our thoughts. There we go. Susan, good morning.
I was going to stop flashing then when you was like different voices. I was like, oh no, I'll stop flashing. And then I just couldn't help it. It was like, I needed to say it. You know why? Because with all the respect to Tim's story here, because it was in an interview with Oprah Winfrey and it was the first time that I heard it, and she said something that just hit me. And she said, I feel like I never chased anything. I always felt like I was cooperating with what God and the universe had set up for me.
And that to me is like how my journey in the last few years. So like true alignment, when you feel like everything is meant to be, for me, that's true success. Adapting, like Tim Storey's book, the miracle mentality, finding joy in every aspect of the journey. And I know I've said this before, but true success is falling in love with the moments. Then there is no end journey. If you can find joy and you fall in love with every moment throughout your life, that is true success. And the sad thing is, often we don't get that until retirement, when we have time to pause and reflect and think. So for me, true success is finding joy in all those little moments in life and falling in love with them from now. That's true success to me.
Brilliant. Can't really argue with that, can you?
No, she
many words of wisdom. That's it. She's mic drop moment there in itself. Good to have you as always, Susan. Janice, you was flashing. Going to come to you.
Oh, thank you. I didn't think I was going to speak. Yeah, so you were talking before about success is living by a beach. Well, I must be the most successful person in the room because I live 20 paces from a beach in Cornwall. So, you know, and I gave up a lot to get here because that peace of mind that I get walking on that beach every day, and I don't care what the weather is, you know, that truly feels like success to me because it brings me so much peace. And the other thing it brings me is perspective. And so it's when I look out at the horizon, whatever is going on, whatever I'm striving for, or whatever's going internally with me, whatever it is, that looking out at that horizon gives me perspective and brings me back to what Susan just said about being in the moment, instead of being in my head away with this, that, and the other plot or plan or whatever. I'm in the moment, and that is success for me. It's that inner game. Yes, I'm striving to achieve outer things, but if my inner game isn't right, then I don't get to enjoy any of it anyway. Or if it's not in alignment, I don't get to enjoy it. So that inner game perspective and following that joy and bliss of, you know, literally giving to myself the thing that I know, and it does, would make the biggest difference to me. So thank you.
Brilliant. Thanks, Janice. Go on, tease us. Is the weather any better in Cornwall than it is in sunny old London at the moment?
Oh, James, you're going down that way.
James is heading down your way. So, yeah, there we go, James.
It's changing. Next week, it's all getting lovely again. So it's great.
Brilliant. Okay. Right, guys, we are going to go through a quick room reset, and then back on the other side of our of the reset, we're going to have Pete Cohen here to tell us all about his new book and discuss the new book, which is for a great cause, which Pete's going to tell us all about. And then at 7:30 a.m. this morning, have we got a treat for you? For the fourth time, Tim Storey is going to be back in the room with a keynote section, and then some Q&A afterwards. So we'll be back after this room reset.
You are listening to exclusive content direct from the Winners Club. If you are enjoying the conversation, click on the green Monopoly house at the top of the screen right now and join the thousands of winners already in our community. For even more actionable content and powerful lessons, download the free companion app now. Just search for the Winners Club in the App Store or Google Play. For more information about the Winners Club and how to become part of our growing community, head to thewinnersclub.club. Now, back to the show.
Hello and welcome back. Now we're going to speak to a guy that's always around everywhere on Clubhouse. I feel like every time I go into a Clubhouse room, Pete is there. But Pete's been with us here in the studio before, a great supporter and friend of everything that we're doing here in the Winners Club, a valuable member of the Winners Club. And Pete has collated is probably the right word, a collection of stories called Clubhouse Culture, which yours was quite insightful, Ashley. I read that was great, and it's for a great cause. So rather than me butcher the introduction, I'm going to come to Pete Cohen. Are you there, my friend?
Before, I just know that it was a challenge for Pete as well.
What, to edit your chapter of the story?
No, I suppose probably. Other than that, I just know I spoke to him, and it's about...
What he had to do was translate Essex slang into the Queen's English. So So that was a challenge in itself.
And it still weren't working out. Grammarly or whatever you put it through was just going, what is this? System failed. But yeah, Pete, all yours.
Brilliant. Good morning, Pete, my friend.
Yeah, good morning. And it was definitely an experience. There's so much I learned along the way, but obviously the first thing I learned is some great stories. I mean, let's be honest, Clubhouse, we're all in the story making business, and the reality is that Clubhouse is giving us an opportunity to build a better story for ourselves, connect with people in a way that, I mean, it's just crazy to me. I think about sometimes you're in a room and you've got people literally from every corner of the world. So I just had this crazy idea, thought, why don't we get some of those stories in a book and write the first Clubhouse book, which it is. I think Gary Henderson's got a book coming out in November about Clubhouse. And look, it was really challenging for so many reasons. One, because I saw a lot of people who were in the book who just basically stopped using it to start off with. So I thought, hang on a second. And because I just always see the good in people. That's one of my strengths, but it's also, my weakness. I just always see possibilities. I always go into things sometimes like with this, let's go, like ready, fire, aim, right, hang on, ready, aim, fire. But it's been awesome. The book has now come out, and I have to thank Jennifer Louise, because if I didn't know Jennifer Louise, I wouldn't have met Chris Connors from the Cocos Foundation. All the money that the book makes, every penny of the book goes to the Cocos Foundation. And the Cocos Foundation, for those of you that don't know, they literally have fed millions of children in Africa, predominantly East Africa, now Uganda, as many of you know, because we raised all this money for a young man called Mandela. And all of the money that goes to the Cocos Foundation, they don't take a penny. So, charities can take, I don't know whether it's like up to 40p or 49p they can take from every penny raised, every pound raised. So that's awesome. But what's also been really interesting was I did get an opportunity to find out a little bit of the stories behind people. So if you read, thankfully, Ashley and Paul and James are in the book, and some other people. Ryan Nurse is in the book. I'm not sure who else is in the room. I know I asked a number of people. It's not just their stories, but also some tips and techniques that they have learned along the way of how to use Clubhouse, because it is a dangerous place to be, as we all know, because right at the beginning, most of us were seeing this as an experiment where we were or an addiction, I should say. Like we were literally here. Yesterday, Ashley, Paul, and James, I loved the conversation that you had yesterday. I thought that was so brutally honest about, where you are right now and what's going on. And that's one of the great things which Clubhouse has brought. It's brought an honesty. It's brought a level of integrity where you just know when someone is the real deal. And I'm extremely grateful to everyone that contributed for the book, because the book is out there now and it's already performing pretty well in various charts. So you can get it from Amazon, but if you get it from Amazon, only $5, I think, will go to the Cocos Foundation. If you buy it directly from the publishers, it will be color inside as well, and $11, I believe, will go to the Cocos Foundation. So if you want to get it from wherever you want to. But I think it's also, the last thing I'm going to say on this is I think it's also a great opportunity for people to maybe buy a few copies of the book and give it to people so people can start to understand really what Clubhouse is. Because I think if we want to take it to another place, we've definitely got to show people more what it is. We've definitely got to tell the stories of how this has transformed so many people's lives. So yeah, I'm very grateful to you guys for being a part of it. And thank you once again for giving me the opportunity to speak on your stage.
Thanks, Pete. Yeah, we discussed this, come up yesterday or earlier on in the week. Actually, it all merges into one. But there was a topic that we discussed briefly about how you explain to other people who don't understand Clubhouse what Clubhouse actually is, especially for us that are giving a lot of our time to build communities, to be on Clubhouse, which is hours and hours of the day. And for somebody that doesn't understand, it's really difficult. So from all of those collections of stories, because you've obviously read all of them, how would you describe Clubhouse? From taking in everybody's information, how would you describe Clubhouse to somebody?
Oh, I still, there's a really good bit of thing that I think maybe we all need to think about. If you're going to tell someone Clubhouse is this, you know, it's like, it's live podcasting. It's like radio, but basically you got an opportunity. I mean, that's a really good question, actually, Paul, because I think people love radio, but how many people love the idea of actually being on the radio and being someone who can contribute? That's to me what Clubhouse is. It's the opportunity for you to speak and have your own radio show where people can listen, but it's also your opportunity to go into a room. I was in a room this morning, actually, with someone who's quite controversial, and I was just kind of listening to what is going on, and you see that that's actually quite, what's the word? People love that stuff. What is it about controversy which brings people in? I have no idea why, and that's a completely off-topic thing, but people love controversy. They love soap operas, but there's something about Clubhouse that is just, it's really real. And I think I need to also do some work on that, Paul, because I want to start telling more people about what Clubhouse is. I think now we all have an opportunity to talk to more people about what this is, that makes them want to go and check out what it is. Because I don't know whether there are less people using it. You know, anything that's new, it goes through that life cycle, doesn't it? It becomes popular, then it kind of dips, and it goes up again and it dips. I think personally now it's up to me. It's like I tell everyone about my podcast when I meet them. I say, you know, I'll be listening to someone an insurance salesman, and they say, do you have any other questions? I say, yeah. Do you listen to podcasts? You know, I say it to everybody. But now is the time to start, I believe, to start telling more people about Clubhouse. If you heard about Clubhouse, and get them to download the app. And imagine if we all did that. I think that would make a big difference. But I'm not answering your question, Paul. What would I say Clubhouse is? I can't give a good answer for that.
No, I don't. Do you know what? I don't think there is an answer, Pete, because you know, I was pretty much the same as you. I describe it as a cross between podcast and radio, but then somebody doesn't quite understand that probably. So, yeah, it's difficult, and I think it is the responsibility of us, the creators, to bring new people, I think, into the app, because you can't argue. What are we, 8 months in to what was probably an experiment, that the content that we are producing, or the content that people are listening to, and the advice that people are getting, is changing people's lives, so for the better. So and
well,
that,
you know,
be a good thing.
Well, there was something else that came on in writing the book, and that was with Ashley and James, actually, who kind of pointed out on a few occasions, look, this is our professional reputation here you're putting in this book, so make sure it's right, because there were some mistakes there, that, you know, there are things that clearly weren't right. And that was also something I had to really kind of take on board. Hang on a second. Yeah, look, I'm putting these people's stories. Let's make sure that it is actually right. And there was some swearing, and because we transcribed everything. So Ashley just said, I don't want that swearing in the book. And I totally understand that, you know. Actually, I finally got the book yesterday and sent it to you. I hope you saw that. So.
Yeah, no.
You know, Pete, Ashley's the only guy that sits down for a recorded interview and doesn't realize that the swearing that he says in the interview will probably make its way into the transcript. It's like, what did you expect to happen, Ash, when you sat down and did it for the interview?
Well, Pete went, look, just be you. just let me ask you some questions, and yeah, it's just
zero filter.
Zero filter.
When I say that, actually, I don't really mean it. They just say it to be polite.
But what entertained me, Pete, in the background is for the first time ever in months, Ashley's picking up on grammar and spelling, which is like brilliant. I didn't even know he'd done that.
I think we've all had to pick up on that sort of stuff and realize, you know, we have to be careful about what we say in diversity and trying to do the right thing. And none of us signed up to this, did we? We never signed up to have this talk. You never. If I told you guys a year ago, this is where you're going to be, you'll be in a room with a few hundred people every single day, you would have built a community, you'd have thousands of people listening, you would have built an app, you probably would have said, really? I can't see that in my crystal ball. But, you know, and I just want to highlight people like Ryan Nurse, because, you know, the impact that you guys have had on someone like this, you know, who was basically a mechanic doing a job that he didn't want to do. And, you know, being able to get his story out there of being someone who's recovered from, you know, a brain injury, and being who he is today, and being able to get his story out into the world. Imagine how many people are going to read his story and be inspired by that. There's, you know, there was even a woman who had genitalia manipulation in Africa where she grew up. It's like this horrible thing that they do to people. I heard her story. I went, wow, I didn't even know that sort of thing happened. So I was able to listen to her and get her story out there. And stories, whether we are in the story making business, and stories change people's lives. So, you know, my hope from the book is, yeah, we raise money, but people also read some of the stories and realize, wow, look at these people. Look, maybe Clubhouse could help me in some way, shape, or form. And then there's like someone like Matt Fidesz. I can't believe that, you know, Matt Fidesz now is a great friend of mine who was Michael Jackson's former bodyguard. I mean, the friendships that we've met. I didn't know you three before actually I'd met James at the EMC event with James Sinclair. He's still on my phone as James Burrett, James Sinclair. So when I get he's down as both. So when I'm getting a phone call from James, I think, is that James Sinclair? But no, I'm pleased it's not James.
Did you put in brackets and the annoying James?
Yeah, I did.
Yeah.
But I'm really looking forward to seeing you guys at EMC. You know, I think it's going to be a fantastic event, and I know that there's lots of Breakfast with Winners who are going to be there. So
now, do you know what? I agree. I think that's going to be a great event.
Oh, I can't wait to meet everyone.
There's two parts to what you just said, Pete. You said about the professional reputation, and do you know what I like now, which has changed on Clubhouse from when it first started, right at the very early stages when we all come on. I think everybody was a little bit guarded. There was a lot of ego from everybody. It was a little bit guarded. It was a bit like the first 30 seconds when you spoke, you almost had to prove within 30 seconds who you were and what you done. And it, you know, it was
a different app, wasn't it?
I think there was a guard in place, but now, whether we're all used to it, we don't quite realize. I guess it's like somebody that's on radio. They don't quite realize that the audience is listening. So we are having, like last night and like we do on a regular basis, people do share their vulnerability, which I think people get more lessons from that, and it just makes for a better, safer place when people are being more vulnerable. And I think that's what's changed with Clubhouse.
I couldn't agree with you more. Can I just highlight that Chris Connors is actually in the audience? I don't know whether you've just got a few minutes that you could just bring him up, because obviously this is the guy who runs the Cocos Foundation, and you know, I've seen him in this room many times, and it would be great if we could just give.
I have invited him, Pete.
Chris, get up here. Thank you.
Just before we go to Chris, Pete, one more question I've got for you. What was from reading everybody's stories, what was the standout moment from you from all of those stories? The bit that you was just like, wow, this is you know, a really memorable moment. What was that in the book?
It was definitely Sabrina from the Alex and Sabrina show, because she really kind of like exposed stuff about herself, really showed her vulnerability in the book of what she's been through to be the person that she is today. There's something about the written word, which is strange because we recorded all of the audios, you know, but when it ends up in words, I don't know, words are different. It's a different experience. And when I read it, I was like, I cried, you know, I was just like, wow. Because I just love stories. We all love them, whether it's Star Wars or whatever it is, Harry Potter. But the thing about this is it's weird, isn't it? Because this is real life, even though most of us have never met each other. You know, there's a connection here that has been formed where people feel that they really are a part of something. And in answer to your question, it was definitely Sabrina's story. So yeah, thank you.
Brilliant. Thanks, Pete. Chris, good morning to you.
Good morning.
I just want to say well done to you guys actually for the 24-hour marathon day that you done, which was great and raised you hit your target. You've probably gone past your target now, haven't you?
Yeah, we're sitting at I think it's 11,900, which is fantastic because it just puts a bit more in the bag. Because to purchase the farm there will be some legal fees and different things like that, so it just makes things a little bit easier, and it just means that we don't, as a charity, the Cocos Foundation, have to do more fundraisers just to be able to help that that piece out. But yeah, I mean, it's fantastic. We're still busy. We've got a choice of 3 different properties which we're looking at. And helping Mandela to be able to make those decisions on what would be best.
Can we just actually, for those of you that don't know, I was in a Clubhouse room. I was then invited to go into another room where, because someone said someone needed help, and there was this guy called Mandela who looks after 101 children in Uganda. Food prices have gone through the roof. COVID has hit hard. So we thought, okay, what could we do? So we got him some money, and the next day he bought some food, and then on his Instagram you could actually see it, and the kids had written down everyone's name who had donated. So then we thought, what else could we do? And through knowing Jennifer Louise and then knowing Chris through Jennifer, we raised 11,000, of which we had a 24-hour event. This is all because of Clubhouse, and Ashley, Paul, and James came and spoke. And then we decided with this book we were going to give it to another charity. We just thought, no, let's go on ongoing support rather than this project is finished. No, it's ongoing. So I'm extremely grateful, because there's no way we could have done this without Chris. Absolutely impossible. Can you imagine me? Let's buy someone a farm in Uganda. Yeah, that's a brilliant idea. Okay, well, what actually happens next? It's not as straightforward as anyone thinks it is. So, yeah, it's awesome.
Can I chip in?
So just can we just Chris, just tell me just what that 11,000 will get for Mandela? What does that do?
Yeah, sure.
Just for people that missed the day or are new to the room.
Yeah, sure. So what it does, it be able to get a farm for Mandela. So what we do is with a lot of our projects, it's so that it becomes much more sustainable. So it's really like that charity tap that we turn it on when the help is needed, but then we turn it off again, and then we extract ourselves so that the project that we're doing, whatever it is, manages to support itself. Because ultimately, what we don't want to do is just keep giving, and to get it to that stage sometimes takes a little bit of a while, and sometimes there has to be a lot of conversations around, the vision in the future. But Mandela, what stood out with him was that he had a very clear vision. He could have asked and asked and asked, but what he didn't. What he wants is he needs a farm, and then he wants to build the dormitories on the farm so that the children have somewhere safe and secure to sleep. Whereas at present moment in time, he just pays out rent and rents a couple of rooms for these 101 children that are just sleeping on the floor. So in order to have the dormitories, his vision is to have the farm to sell the produce, to be able to then buy the dormitories or be able to build the dormitories, so that the kids are then safe. So for him, it was very much a long-term project. And for us, it was about being able to support him with that long-term and to be able to help him to purchase that farm, and then to be able to, over time, extract ourselves out as a charity so he becomes self-sufficient and can look after the kids, rather than it just being give all the time.
Brilliant. So that will, with that theory in mind, that will support children for years and years and years to come, won't it? If there's an ecosystem there to keep doing it.
Yeah, absolutely, and that's what it's about. I mean, we work. We've just built a maths and science centre, which is based in South Africa, in the KwaZulu-Natal region, and and that's the same thing, that it helps young people that are in poverty to have the chance to get an education. But we do have also paying students there in order to make sure the teachers' wages are paid. But then there's a proportion which we offer then to youngsters that have the ability, absolutely have the ability to be able to do well in the world and be able to, go on to university, but can't because they don't have the access to education. But all the time, it's about making sure that you've got that balance, the balance between giving, but also the balance between them helping themselves and being able to move something forward. You can't change a country from the outside in, but you can change it from the inside out. So you've got to put it in at grassroots in order for it to be able to grow upwards, rather than just, going in and saying, well, we're going to do this, this, and this, and this. And that just doesn't work, putting your beliefs and your values on laying it on top of somebody else, because it will just crack. Eventually, what happens, it just falls apart. But doing it this way, it will grow, and then hopefully come into something that will be long lasting, and make sure those kids are secure.
Brilliant. Well, guys, look, thank you very much. If you click on Chris's profile, please go through and give Chris a follow, and go and check out what they're doing at the Coco Foundation. Donate if you haven't already done so. Pete, just one final word before we move on to the next stage.
Yeah, just if people want to get the book, literally just click on my face, go to my Instagram. You'll get it if you could get it directly from the publishers, like I say, then more money is going to go to the Coco's Foundation. But if you want to get it from Amazon, it's entirely up to you. Just get it. Maybe buy a few copies, give it to a few people so people can really see what Clubhouse is all about. It says new book, Clubhouse Culture, on my link tree. But thank you so much to the Winners Club for everything that you do, and I really, really, really appreciate it.
Brilliant. Thanks, Pete. Is there a link for a URL link you can read out to go direct to the publisher, or is it in your link tree?
It's in my link tree. I don't have it.
No, that's fine.
Send me a message on here, and I'll just send you the link. So
you can also post it on the wall on the app.
Thanks, guys, for coming into the room and giving your time up. Because I know you're busy, guys, and it was really, really appreciated.
Yes, it was
on the 24th.
massively.
And thanks, Jen, for the intro all those many months ago. I'm kicking my butt.
Brilliant, guys. Right, we're
You're
going to do a quick
welcome.
reset, and then back after the reset in about a minute's time, a man that needs no introduction at all, we're going to have Tim Storey.
You are listening to exclusive content direct from the Winners Club. If you are enjoying the conversation, click on the green Monopoly house at the top of the screen right now and join the thousands of winners already in our community. For even more actionable content and powerful lessons, download the free companion app now. Just search for the Winners Club in the App Store or Google Play. For more information about the Winners Club and how to become part of our growing community, head to thewinnersclub.club. Now, back to the show.
Mr. Tim Storey, I would say it's good morning for us, but good evening to you. How are you, my friend?
Good evening and good morning. You know what? I love this conversation. So I've been listening for about 35 minutes, and I love Pete's profile picture. You saw that he has something on his head. You saw that, right?
Yeah, the duck, the world famous duck.
Yeah, so I'm loving what you're doing, Pete, and whether he's on or off right now, I think that's super, super cool. So we can get it through Amazon, and then what's the other way we can get the book?
I think directly through the publisher, because then Amazon don't get their filthy 30% commission.
Yeah,
exactly. But so no, I'm excited about that. But I do want to say, because we talked about the beach. I heard that about the beach. So I've been staying for the last 4 days on the beach in Laguna Beach, California. Now, if you've never been to Laguna, you guys need to Google it just so you could see how beautiful it is. And even though I'm very brown skinned, I think I got a tan, guys, the last 4 days.
Better than the UK then, Tim.
Yeah, but you know, some of you guys have been here. You have Newport Beach, then Laguna, then San Clemente, but it's just such a beautiful area. And then to see the surfers out there in the morning, it's just great stuff. All right, so what do you want me to share on today? I'm excited. I got a bunch of notes.
It's the success. So
this week? Yeah, this week we've been speaking a lot about, yesterday and today we've been speaking a lot about sacrifice and success, and we've been speaking around, do you need to, the sacrifices that people have made, and do you need to sacrifice to have success? And actually, what is success? And you probably caught the back end of everybody speaking about what success means to them. But look, Tim, we're in your hands, so you go for it, my friend. Go, take us in whatever direction and journey you feel we need to go in this morning.
And then we will.
But I want to say this: that whenever I'm on, what a privilege to serve, and I did like a lot of the ideas of what success is. So I thought that was excellent. Okay, so I want to talk about something that I think you guys will like: miracles in motion. Miracles in motion. So if you're taking notes, miracle in motion. I think that all of us are truly a miracle in motion. And, it's so amazing that a lot of times we don't feel like we're a miracle in motion. We don't feel like anything amazing is going to happen in our lives. But yet, as I've been saying for many, many years, just around the corner, everything can shift. There was a friend of mine in Hollywood, and he ran a lot of nightclubs. And he's actually quite famous for doing this. For some of you that have visited LA, you would probably have been to his nightclubs to know who he was. But there was a time about 20 years ago where his nightclubs and a restaurant that he owned was just not working. And I remember we were taking this long walk in New York. We were in New York for a project, and we were walking, and he was saying, Tim, I'm being honest with you. I think I'm done. And at that time, he was in his 30s, and he was saying, I think I'm done. And he gave all the reasons why he thought he was done, because he was in debt, he owed money, the restaurants and nightclubs were not hitting. But he kept on keeping on. And you look at him now, he owns all these restaurants. He's owned hotels. He married a woman that's just amazing. That the family is amazing. And I think many times that while we are that miracle in motion, it's so easy to fold while we're still unfolding. All right. So Tim Storey, what do you mean by that? So about 4 nights ago, I was at somebody's birthday party, and it was a fun party, and they had poker tables that they brought out. So I don't get a chance to do that very often, but it was a lot of fun. So you get your cards, and when you're playing poker, for most of you know this, that if you do not like your hand, you can fold it. And by folding it, you're saying, I don't like my hand. My hand is not good. And so I fold it, like I give in. And so I want you guys to think about this for a second. Is there things in your life that you have folded while you're still unfolding? Like, could be your health. Like, wow, I'm this much overweight. This may always be me. But are you folding before you have unfolded? Or I'll never write that book. Are you folding and before you unfolded? Or I've been in these relationships that didn't work, but I think I'll just be by myself, maybe even forever. But are you folding before you have unfolded? So we're talking about being a miracle in motion. A miracle in motion. So I have in my notes that there's one thing that is true in life, and that in the middle of beautiful things, there will always be what I call life interruptions. A life interruption is a disturbance, an interference, an intervention. It's something that comes in that we usually did not order from life's diner. It just showed up. So in my book, Miracle Mentality, that a lot of you have already, is, you remember I told this story about, I'm 10 years of age. My father leaves at 7 p.m. at night to go get my mother food to a restaurant that is literally 15 minutes from my house. This is before the days where, you could just order something on your iPhone and it shows up, in not too long. So he went to go get food for my mother, and he never came back because he went through a green light, and there was a police officer, bless his heart, good guy, because he later came to our house and talked to us several times. But this guy, police officer, was not paying attention. No siren, no nothing. Runs a red light, hits my father, and my father dies. So my family was already in trouble. I was born in Compton, California, in the inner city, but we were lower income people. We had 7 people when I was born in a 2-bedroom apartment, which was super cramped and crowded. And we had a Volkswagen that we used to drive around in, not the big bus, but like the little Beetle, which is like illegal. We were driving around illegally. And so it was bad enough. So this is good for some of you, that, it was bad enough already, but then this life interruption hit, this disturbance, this interference, this intervention, like, wow. So the guy is taken out. And I'll never forget, my father had a lot of good energy. And my mother, who is Spanish, my mother is from Spain, and my father, Cuban black, Afro-Cuban. My mother is the disciplinarian, and she's very strong to this day. And same thing with the discipline. And so there was not a lot of joy that was coming from this lady. It was coming from the dad. And so now that is taken out. So at that moment, you don't feel like you're a miracle in motion. You don't feel like someday you'll get to go to 75 countries of the world and speak to these enormous crowds of 30,000, 40,000. Biggest crowd to date is 85,000 people at one time. You don't think that you'll get to do all these TV shows and movies and things and get to talk to people like yourself. You don't see that. What I saw was a setback. So a setback is something that does not feel good. To be set back means literally you're set back, you are fixed, solidified, you are put in a position. And that's what happened, obviously, when COVID came. You know, February 11th is the first time that we started talking about this thing called COVID. Around February 19th, we started hearing about COVID deaths. In America, March 15th, some of the states started to shut down. I mean, we'd never seen this thing, this mass setback, this mass pandemic. And you don't feel like a miracle in motion at that time. You don't feel like your childhood dreams are going to come true. So again, it's so easy to fold while you're still unfolding. But I believe that you can still stay steady in unsteady times. You can stay steady in unsteady times. A friend of mine said, Tim, it seems like you have like smooth jazz playing in your head at all times. And when I look at my life for the things that I do, there's so many really awesome things that I think some people would enjoy. But there's a lot of things that are not so awesome. I'm constantly dealing with family members' crisis. I'm dealing with people that have lost loved ones that have died. For the type of jobs that I have of a humanitarian, but a true life coach to people who doesn't just deal with people's lives when they're pretty, but when they are having setbacks. So when most people have a setback or a life interruption, they sit in the setback. They sit in the setback, and they just kind of stay there. The second thing that a lot of people do, and this is after talking about this and watching people for years, is they settle. They settle. And they begin to live in what I call the land of okay. The land of okay. How's your life? Okay. How's your family? Okay. How are your kids? Okay. How's your job? Okay. I really don't think that that's how you're supposed to live, is in this land of okay. I think some of you that listened to me last time remember the story, and he doesn't mind me telling the story. But when I first met Robert Downey Jr., who is a phenomenal actor and just a great man, and we worked together even today on prison reform. But we've been friends since 1999. And he said to me, you know, Tim, I'm working through things in my life, and I want you to do me a favor and just help me to be okay. And I laughed and I said, that's going to be difficult because I don't really do okay. And he started laughing. He says, okay, help me become more than okay. And then he later started quoting me in many interviews, even till today. And he said, Tim Storey taught me that the greater the setback, the greater the comeback. The greater the setback, the greater the comeback. And some of you remember or don't remember, at that time, he was really challenged by different things in his life. But just around the corner, remember I talked about that, just around the corner would be many movies, some that he filmed even in the UK. And then he would end up doing Iron Man. And so, I mean, here's a guy that's going to end up doing Iron Man for Marvel. But at that time, he's tempted to sit and settle, and really, in that case, fold. So again, don't fold while you're still unfolding, because you're a miracle in motion. You're a miracle in motion. So some people, when there's a setback, they sit in the setback. Some people settle in the setback. Some people cement themselves in the setback. Now, for me, when my father passed, there was something in me that said, I have to go on. And then, but, you know, for my brother, who was 4 years older, that traumatic thing became a trigger for him. The trauma became a trigger where he became very bitter at everything because of the way my father was taken out. And he carried that bitterness with him. And it's sad for me to say that he struggled with addiction, even though he was an engineer for McDonnell Douglas, very, very smart. But he struggled and his thing that he would constantly go back to is what took place. So many times we sit, we settle, and we cement that, you know, somebody maybe has gone through a divorce, and it's easy to keep pointing back at that divorce, but that divorce may have taken place 11 years ago. Or you look back to things that did not happen for you, and you cement yourself in that spot. So I want to challenge you today in a very positive way. Is that, as you've heard before many times, we could have a fixed mindset or a growth mindset. A person with a fixed mindset says, it is what it is. This is just the way it is. But a person with a growth mindset says, you know what? I can learn. I can grow. I can get better. And the fixed mindset finds himself avoiding challenges or finds herself giving up easily, sees effort as fruitless or worse. I'm looking at my notes. But a growth mindset embraces challenges, persists in the face of setbacks. Wow. In the midst of a pandemic, a lot of you, in the midst of terrible things happening, I mean, I've lost really good friends that have died. But in the midst of all the pain that a lot of us have been through in life, there are a lot of us that have decided to find a way to persist in the face of setbacks and to get up one more time and go forward. So many times people say to me, how do I do this? And this is very common. Like if I'm on an airplane, mostly people want to talk to me about how do I work myself through a setback. If I'm in a shopping center and people come up to me, they want to talk about how do I turn my setback into a comeback, because I became known as this person, as a comeback coach to the stars. So you're a miracle in motion, but we'll have setbacks. I said, don't sit, don't settle, don't cement yourself. So I'm going to talk about 5 to 7 more minutes, and then we'll open it up. All right. So Tim's story. What do I do? Number one, you have to become awake. You have to become awake. And I think that a lot of people that are good people, maybe even listening right now, is that it feels so much easier sometimes to just medicate ourselves, so we don't have to wake up to some of the stuff we've been through, like wake up to the fact that your father has passed. I mean, so my brother medicated himself, but some people medicate themselves through working too much. There's no doubt about that. And they quit being human beings. They're now human doings. Some people medicate themselves through other forms of addiction, whether it even be food. But number one, we have to wake up. We have to wake up, become conscious. You have to wake up. Secondly, so powerful. I beg you to hear this. You have to take inventory. When I was about 17, I worked at a clothing store and we sold Levi's and all kinds of stuff. I was still in high school. And I remember I had a very cool boss. It was a lady named Susan. And she would say, okay, you guys, we got to take inventory on Saturday. And she wouldn't bring in everybody. She goes, I'm going to get my best inventory people. And I've always been a very organized person. So I was always the inventory person. And you had to count like how many Levi's were on this certain rack and then the sizes. And you had to write them down. And, you know, same thing in our life. When you have a setback, number one, you have to become awake. Number two, you have to take inventory. And you got to say, okay, where's my mindset? Where's my attitude? Where am I at physically? Where's my resilience? And be very real about what that life interruption did to you. Because there are life interruptions that have hit some of you that if I was coaching you one-on-one, I'm not trying to get you to climb the biggest mountain while you're injured. I want you to get restored. I want you to renew yourself. I want you to get back into a healthy state. And then we'll climb a smaller mountain and then a bigger mountain, then a bigger mountain. And then we go after our goal of the biggest mountain that you might be after. So number one, you become awake. Number two, you take inventory. Number three, so important, talked about this all the time. I hear people talk about this on Clubhouse. As you number three, you have to find the right partners. You need to partner with power. So you become awake, take inventory. Number three, the right partners. And when I say the right partner, you need people with the right mindset and the right motives. So one reason I wrote the book, The Miracle Mentality, is to talk about how a lot of times we have lost our miracle mentality and we have minimized our mentality, minimized our mindset because of things that have happened in our life. But in times that we live in right now, and even in the future, guys, we need to partner with power. You need to be around people that have a miracle mentality, that see things through the lens of that life is still amazing and wonderful, and it could be extraordinary. It still could be supernatural. It could be uncommon. That's what miracle is. You have to have the right partners. So I've been talking about that there are three levels of partners. There's a casual partner. It's like, wow, you're from London, I'm from London, or you're from LA, I'm from LA. That's the casual partner that we meet. But then you have the intimate partner. And that is, you know, we begin to become better friends and we hang out, maybe we go on vacation, or obviously that's our family. Even if you're not real close to your siblings, it's still intimate. They're your brothers or sisters. So you have your casual, you have the intimate, but watch how powerful this is. The third area is what I call the invited guest, the green room. When you go speak at a conference, and some of you guys do, when you speak at a conference, so some of you know this, or let's say if you're a musical act or you're on Broadway, they may say, there's your green room. Okay, over there, that's Tony Robbins' green room. Over there, there's Gary V's green room. But over there, there's Ashley's green room, or there's Tim Storey's green room. So that's your green room. And so in your green room, you're allowed to have your invited guest. And I tell you that when I'm life coaching these entertainers, what I find, if they're having a lot of trouble, they usually have a lot of trouble in their green room. The power of association. And I'm telling you, they say this in every country, birds of a feather flock together. And there's no doubt about it. So I think that as you take inventory in your life and you look at your partners, who your casual partners are, they can't hurt you so much. You're intimate, they can't get in your stuff. But the people in your green room are the ones that many times you're going to listen to, and maybe you should not listen to them. So I think that for me, being isolated for such a long period of time in Los Angeles, I really began to take time to see who is in my green room. And as much as I like some of these people, they're not handling this crisis well. I don't even care about how they talk about things or are moving in things, or maybe they're even too casual about other people's crisis. And so you have to start thinking, who is in my green room? And is their mindset where it should be to help my life? And are their motives where they should be? Almost done. So in a setback, you must become awake, take inventory. Number 3, partner with the right people. Then you must have the right principles. The principles are so important. Stephen Covey, when he talked about 7 habits of highly effective people, principles, Think and Grow Rich, no doubt about it. Principles, Miracle Mentality, my book, it's all about principles. I think a lot of people try to make the right plan without first having the right principles. I think you got to have the principles, and then the plan will come. I find that the best plans come and they're birthed out of correct principles. So you become awake, take inventory, right partner, principles, then the plans will come, and then you will be persistent. Now, the very thing that you cannot stand is probably the thing that shaped you. And I'll close this part, then we'll do Q&A and what did you learn after this little talk on persistence. But one day I was watching Spanish television with my mother, because her first language is Spanish and she speaks very broken English. So I want you to picture my mother. She's 90, but she's healthy. She sees really well, hears very well, walks very well, and she's feisty. And she's from Spain, and yeah. So we're watching Spanish TV, and it was years ago, and there was a celebrity that almost dropped their baby. Like, the paparazzi was taking pictures, and the celebrity almost dropped the baby. And I says, "Mom, look at that." I said, "She almost dropped her baby." And my mother says, "Oh, I used to drop you all the time." I thought she was joking. And I go, "You're joking." She goes, "No, you used to fall a lot." I go, "You're joking." She goes, "No, when you were a kid, you would fall out of the high chair, like, when you're being fed in the morning." I'm like, no wonder. So many times it's the very things that have come against us, of me being born in a lower income family, and the pain of losing my father, the pain of people being prejudiced against me many times as a kid and as an adult. But a lot of those things that were meant for evil, it's amazing how the right mindset helped me become a stronger person, a more resilient person, a more persistent person. Oprah Winfrey was talking to me about this in her backyard, and she was talking about pain, the word pain, to go through pain, that none of us like this thing called pain. And she was talking about her childhood pain, but she was saying that it's amazing that a lot of the pain that hit her life when she was young is part of the thing that caused her to rise up and say, "I have to become more resilient. I have to become more persistent." So there are life interruptions. There are life interruptions, disturbance, interference, interventions. But don't forget this: you are a miracle in motion. You are a miracle in motion. So today, as you breathe, wherever you are in the world, you are a miracle in motion. And don't quit. Don't give up. Don't fold while you're still unfolding. Because even your mess can become your message, and you can change many people's lives. Thank you for letting me share.
Wow. Can we get a mic clap for Tim, please, guys? Can we get a mic clap? Wow. Thank you very much, Tim, for that keynote and that statement. Don't fold while unfolding. Who got their thoughts provoked with that line there and was thinking of a time that they've folded while unfolding? Well, look,
I was more worrying about you being in my green room.
Exactly.
But no, that I've got to say, one more mic clap, and then we're going to do some Q&A with Tim. That was phenomenal. I sat there in deep thought, thinking about things that are probably folded in the past while unfolding.
I think far too many of us give up too soon. We're going to do a quick reset, and then when we come back after that, we'll be into Q&A. So get your questions ready. When do you get the opportunity to ask Tim Storey a question? So you'll be able to do that after this.
You are listening to exclusive content direct from the Winners Club. If you are enjoying the conversation, click on the green Monopoly house at the top of the screen right now and join the thousands of winners already in our community. For even more actionable content and powerful lessons, download the free companion app now. Just search for the Winners Club in the App Store or Google Play. For more information about the Winners Club and how to become part of our growing community, head to thewinnersclub.club. Now, back to the show.
So, I'm going to kick it off, and while Tim's here, is get a question, and then we go round the stage. So, if you can get a flash of mics as we work our way down. This week, Tim, we've been talking about success and sacrifice. Now, some of the players that you coach and mentor in their life, let's just say like Oprah, Kanye West, them sort of people, do they think they're successful? From the outside, we all look at them as a place where they are, but deep down, are they still going for more? Are they still striving for more? Or what do they look at as success at that level?
I think that they recognize they're celebrities, but they don't think that they've got there. So I was just recently 4 days in a row with Sean Combs, who's known as P. Diddy, and sometimes 4 or 5 hours, 7 hours a day. He's still driving, pushing, pulling, but in this case, I don't think it's about like money, and it's not even about becoming more famous. It's about things that they feel in their mind or in their spirit that they think they're supposed to accomplish, and they want to go after that. So I think that these people that I get to work with, and I get to work with so many, that it's not so much about the fame that they're after, but it's about the accomplishment of a goal. Like, for instance, you may take a major actor, but she decides that now she wants to do Broadway. And she's always wanted to sing, but was afraid to sing, and she's doing that. So that's like somebody that I'm working with that you guys would know. But so they're after different things. So I think it's not about celebrity at that point. It's about doing a certain goal.
Great answer. I feel that.
I was muted. There we go. I'm back. Tim, I'd love to know what you feel is the best comeback that you've been involved with. You mentioned that you're the comeback king, really, and you coach celebrities with their comebacks. What's the standout one for you, where you started working with somebody when they was at probably their lowest point, which I'm guessing is probably most of your clients, but what's the one that stands out for you?
Well, I think that, so many of the celebrities that I work with, they're just like us. So, we're all going through life, and then we have these life interruptions, but I don't take credit for anybody's comeback that's like, now doing phenomenal. But I would say that without mentioning a name, because then I may not be able to keep working with this person. But I think a celebrity that is probably one of the biggest ones that we've got going, who was feeling like every time I get there, I secretly sabotage myself. And this person would sabotage themselves. And I have not mentioned their name so far, but they would sabotage themselves, but none of us knew how they were doing it or that they were doing it. But it really came down to childhood trauma. And this person was feeling like, I might as well just blow this doggone thing up because it's going to blow up anyway. And after working with them for like 3 years, to see them thriving, like at the crazy level, that's a great feeling. So there's never a time that I can turn on the TV or watch Netflix or anything that I don't see one of my clients. And so it's exciting to be a servant to people, to help them keep the miracle in motion going. That's how I see it.
Wow, what a good answer there.
Fantastic.
I always love it when you hear Tim. So let's rock and roll and go down the stage. So Susan.
Oh, thank you, Ash. Oh, hello, Tim. It's always incredible to hear you. So thank you so much for coming back. I think just before you came in, I was talking about a quote from Oprah about she feels like she's never chased her dreams. And I always talk about, we are magnets. We attract success. It's, what I've started to develop as my new career. And often I say to people, we attract everything. And there's been people that I would like to work with, and I feel like I'm attracting them into my life. So of course there's elements of connecting with them, but I'm never chasing, I'm never asking, I'm allowing them to come into my life. And when I say this to some people, they're like, no, you have to go out there, and get it. And I'm like, yeah, I understand that, but you're attracting it. So I would love, Tim, you to explain in your amazing words the way you explain it, because it's going to be a hell of a lot better than I ever could, how you define truly attracting success, and what you define that difference between being the magnet and attracting it, but equally taking those steps to go out and get it, or meet with that person, or connect with that person. I hope that makes sense.
It does. And Susan, I loved your statement so much when I heard you earlier, that I started following you, and you have a very, very good way of communicating. So I'd like to know more about you. You communicate well. So the talk with Oprah, we have these amazing talks. She likes to go one-on-one. I get the privilege of, teaching her staff, and get to do the Oprah cruise and write for her magazine. I'm in her new book. I was in her documentary. We're like family. And you're exactly right. Is that her whole idea is, I don't believe in chasing anything. And so this chase to me is almost like if we had 5 rabbits and we let them out in a room and then we asked all of us, to go chase these rabbits down. Man, some of these rabbits are quick. That's not going to be a good experience because they're darting left and right. And that's how I see a lot of people. They call this, on their grind. I believe in getting up early, but I actually enjoy the discipline. I believe in exercise, but I enjoy the discipline. I like eating correctly, but I enjoy the discipline. So this idea of chasing things has really gone too far, where I think people are chasing. And many times they're chasing the wrong thing. But she said, I cooperate with what I believe that the universe is saying about my life. So whether you want to say God or the universe, however you think, but she says, I want to just cooperate what I feel that the universe is saying about my life. And what an amazing way to think, because then you're aligning yourself. And when you're aligning yourself, what I think comes out of you is a promise brings hope and expectation. If I teach you anything this morning, Don't ever forget that. A promise brings hope and expectation. So as long as I've been doing what I've been doing, and when you guys get around me in person, you're gonna see like there's a skip in my step and a glide in my stride. Why? Because a promise brings hope and expectation. So it's not like I have to like stir myself up or Oprah has to stir herself up, but a promise brings hope and expectation. Remember when you were a child and your parents told you you're going to go somewhere fun? I remember when my mother said, "We're going to Disneyland on Saturday." It was only Wednesday. She should not have told me so early because I kept saying, "When are we going to go? When are we going to go?" So, yes, a promise brings hope and expectation. And that is an energy that you have that will draw people to you. So, yeah, just keep cooperating.
Incredible. Thank you so much, Tim.
Well, what a great answer. So, guys, if you want to give us a flash of a mic, Beiju.
Thanks, Ashley. Good morning, good evening, Tim. Really, really enjoyed your conversation this morning. I remember one of Oprah's quotes was, "You can have everything, but just not at the same time." And that sort of aligned with what you were saying around as you're unfolding, some people fold back. We talked about yesterday about what success looks like, but also, do you need to sacrifice in order to get what you want? I'd love to know your take on, as you're unfolding, people do fall back, and that's because they get fearful, or maybe they're scared of the success or scared of failure. Do you believe that as you're unfolding, you have to sacrifice things, or do you feel there's no such thing as sacrifice, as choice? Just love to get your take on sacrifice, choice, and success. Thanks, Tim.
I would like to borrow your voice someday when I'm on these talk shows. You're good. I think there's always sacrifice. There's always sacrifice, man. My life is one big sacrifice. Even though I get to do some really cool things, like I'm working on a cartoon right now, literally a cartoon with Randy Jackson, who used to be on American Idol. So it was Paul Abdul, who's my friend, and Simon Cowell, who's from your area, and Randy Jackson. So Randy and we work on projects. So we're doing this new cartoon that looks like it's going to work. And so, you know, that's a lot of fun, but also it's a lot of sacrifice. I'm also working on another show about dreams. And right now I have a crew that is actually where they did that movie and with Kevin Costner, The Field of Dreams. So I have a crew right now at that place that will be filming tomorrow morning American time for this project we're doing. So that's a lot of sacrifice. And then I'm working with companies. That's a lot of sacrifice. So no, I think that in order to get to the places that you want to be, mostly to these higher levels, that sacrifice will never leave your life. You always stay in a place of sacrifice. So let me break down two words. You have sacrifice and you have surplus. Most people think they get to surplus and then that's it. They just want to stay there. The truly great people like yourselves, you are sacrificing and you always have surplus, sacrifice, surplus, sacrifice. In one area, you may have surplus, another area, you still got to sacrifice.
Tim, can I ask you, would you, if you replace the word sacrifice with choice, would the energy change, or would that be a different context?
Tell me more about that. What do you mean by that?
So we talked yesterday, and some people were saying, well, it's not a sacrifice because you're choosing. You know, Paul talked about his story that early on he was very, focused on growing his business financially so he could, look after his family in the future. And you could say he sacrificed time with his kids, but it was still a choice because we have a priority at this moment in time. Yes, I might be giving up on something, but it's still a choice per se. And my take sometimes is if you label it as a choice, it's more empowering. Yes, you might be giving up something, but I'm choosing to right now. I actually like that take. So my sacrifice that I do in life,
is not for finances, because I do well financially. So it's not for finances, and it's not for fame, or it's not to accomplish more, just to prove something. So I do like that. I think it's a choice, but I tell you, because I'm not 30 anymore, it's still a sacrifice to run like I'm going to first thing in the morning. To me, but it's my choice. It's sacrifice. It's a sacrifice to have my 28-year-old trainer who wants to kick my butt, and I'm not 28. But that's my choice. But I'm still going to sacrifice. So yeah, I like the way you guys are talking about this.
Great, thanks, Tim. Appreciate your time. As always, you know, you just give so much value every single time. So I really acknowledge and appreciate your time. Thank you, Tim.
And thank
Ashley.
you for that. Thank you for saying that. I mean that.
No problem. No problem. Thank you, Ashley. Thank you, Tim.
Well, brilliant. Good questions and great answers, Tim. Well, let's go to Iffy.
Hi, good morning. Oh, what a lovely conversation. Every time you come, it's thought-provoking, Tim, so thank you. I had a question. I've looked at the book, and I remember last time you spoke about parenting and about the 3 Gs, guide, guard, and govern. Has there ever been a time in your life when you were trying to do something for your family, but it meant to do it, you would have to, I suppose, sacrifice being there for the greater good? Have you ever experienced a time when you've looked at what you're about to do, you felt called to do something, but it kind of went against the principles of trying to be there for your family? Has that ever occurred for you, Tim?
Yes, and I love the fact that you remember that from the book, because in the Miracle Mentality book, as you know, I get into a chapter on. Someone has a live mic there, a hot mic.
Beiju.
Beiju, I'm trying to mute it.
Sorry, just came out of the car. Sorry, guys.
Sounded like you're doing the washing up, Beiju.
Exactly.
Just got in. Sorry.
We still love you. You can still stay. Come back even tomorrow. But yeah, I think that for me, number one, I have 2 children. I'm single. I was married a long time ago, but I have 2 children, and I will tell you that now that they're older and we have these amazing conversations, I realize that I had a lot of blind spots. But what I was saying to you, that I love that you talked about this, that the parent is supposed to do 3 things: guide, which is direction; guard, which is protection; govern, which is administration. But there will be times where you do have to sacrifice even time for a season. Let me give you an example. I do a lot with Paul Mitchell Schools, Paul Mitchell Company, and a lot of the students, when I go in and I speak at these schools, they have over 100 schools. They will often say, Mr. Storey, I feel terrible because I'm in school all day, and then I have to work a job, and I have a 3-year-old, and the 3-year-old is with a sitter or sometimes with my mother. And sometimes these girls will get very emotional when they're saying this. So they're talking about sacrifice. And I'll say, you have to understand, this is a season. This is a season. You're in school, for a year and a half at this Paul Mitchell system. It's a season. It's a season. It's a season of sacrifice. So in my opinion, that yes, many times we do have to sacrifice working overtime, doing other things, and not always giving the quantity of time. But let's hope that it is for a season, and that just because I'm a spiritual person, let me just say this: I think grace fills in the gaps. Like, my kids have always said to me, like, Dad, you were always a great dad, even when sometimes you had to be missing. So I think grace fills in the gaps. Great question.
Oh, I love that. That just warmed my heart. Grace fills in the gaps. Thank you so much. Because that means those moments when you look at them and you really give them eye contact and you spend those strong connected moments that I consciously do, that is the gap. That is the grace. So thank you. That really
100%. But you guys, for all of you listening, don't forget that, because if you have children, it's so easy to be so doggone hard on yourself of how you didn't do everything right. And my kids text me like every day with emojis. And my son, he's older now, and both of them are in the entertainment business as behind the scenes people. And I mean, they show me such love and affection in that, and because Grace fills in the gaps. It's amazing.
Well, I think that's touched everyone. Grace fills in the gaps. There's a lot of parents here and a lot of business owner parents here as well. So, yeah, thank you very much, Tim. Great question, Iffy. So we're going to be working our way down the stage. So give us a flash of a mic just so I can see. Give us a flash of a mic. Rihanna.
Oh, thanks, Ash. Good morning, Tim, or good evening for you, and thank you so much for being here. Yeah, so you talked about when life interruptions come along, and the first step to become awake, and that's a huge step to take, isn't it? To become awake to something, and when you become awake, you might not like what you're facing head on. What would you say is the number one thing to help you get through that initial feeling of, oh my gosh, this is huge? How can we go about that?
That's a great question. So I talked about, as you said, number one, become awake. Number two, take inventory. Number three, have the right partners. I think when you wake up, it's best to have somebody there. And I know that there's a lot of times where someone's in a crisis and they'll want me to be in the room. Like when I wake up, I want to know you're there. I'm going in for this certain surgery, but Tim, I know you're busy, but can you be there? So I think there's something very powerful about this idea of waking up. Can be so overwhelming, but if you have somebody there, it could change everything. So because my doctorate is in world religion, and I'm very inclusive, I love all walks of life. But in the Bible, there's a Bible verse in Ecclesiastes chapter 4, verse 9. It says, pity the person who when they fall, they have no one to help them up, or when they are cold, they have no one to keep them warm. And I think many times when you wake up and you look at things you don't like, that's a cold season and you need somebody warm just to be there.
Wow, amazing. Thank you, Tim. I love that. Somebody warm to be there. Thank you.
Wow, great, Tim. It's such a pleasure to have you here, my friend. Just
no, I appreciate that, and I think that the thing about, like, I'll talk to Grant Cardone, who knows, he may jump on here. You know how he gets, but I'll talk to all these amazing guys I get to work with. Every month of my life, we do all these seminars and things together, and many times they'll say, like, how did you get all these people, these celebrities that trusted you, and you have worked with them for years? And I really think part of it, Ashley, is just being the warm person that's there in a cold season. It's not always like coming with the perfect answer, but it was being the warm person in the middle of a cold season. No doubt about it.
Wow. So loving this. So let's go. There is a lot of flashing of mics. So Ryan, come on, my friend.
Thank you, Ashley, and thank you, Tim, for being here. I love your shares this morning. So we're talking about sacrifice, and I honestly believe, like, if you don't sacrifice for what you want, then what you want becomes a sacrifice. However, the word sacrifice, it sort of has like quite a negative connotation with it. So if we could flip it maybe to say an investment in self rather than say a sacrifice. So my question to you, Tim, would be, what has been, say, one of your biggest temporary sacrifices, and then what was the sort of the reward after, say, making that temporary sacrifice?
Ryan, I like the way you think. Are you a writer or a speaker? What do you do any of that?
Yeah, I've just started. I've just sacrificed the comfort of my job to follow my mission because of these guys here today, because of Clubhouse.
I love it. But if I could coach you for a minute, you might need to keep some type of job that has been like your job while you're building up this other side of you as an influencer, etc. Does that make sense?
Yeah, of course.
And that way, Ryan, you're not putting so much pressure on yourself. So I like how you gave us a paradigm shift on sacrifice. So I will say that I have not been able to live a normal life. That when I went to seminary at age 18, that my life shifted because I did not know I had a gift to communicate until I had to start communicating. And I did not know I had a gift to write the way I could write until I started writing. And what took place is while a lot of people were doing other things, what I felt was the calling on my life caused me to not do a lot of things that people my age were doing. So I was already, guys, going to different countries. I was like going to African countries and getting involved in feeding programs and education programs. And whether you want to call that sacrifice or just putting in extra effort, I definitely missed a lot of times that a normal 19, 20, 21, 22, 23-year-old would have gone through. And then to become well known at something, imagine if you're good at something, how many people are looking for me? And so there's a lot of things I can't go to, a lot of parties I can't go to, or things maybe I could, but I don't, because I'm busy doing what I do, which is being a humanitarian and changing people's lives. But the reward, my goodness, I would do it again 10 times over. I would do it again. I would do it all again. Just to see people in airports and they go, Tim Storey, you changed my life. I was minding my own business. I was in Turkey and I'd been flying with Turkish Air. I was on a layover on my way somewhere. This was 2 years ago, and I was just walking. I heard a lady screaming at me. She kept screaming my name, so I turned because I didn't expect that in Turkey. And she came up to me. She was a flight attendant, and she was from another country, and she said, Tim Storey, I started listening to you 5 years ago. And she started crying. She says, you literally have changed my life. So for that, it was worth all the sacrifice or whatever we decide to call that word.
Thank you, Tim, so much. And while I've got you, I've been set a challenge recently by the amazing Beju to come up with acronyms for people's names. So I made one for you, Tim. And Tim stands for Thaumaturgy in Motion. And if anybody doesn't know what the word thaumaturgy means, the definition is the working of wonders or miracles. So thank you, Tim, and I appreciate you.
Ryan,
Wow.
Ryan's profound.
Oh, I just learnt that word this morning, and wow.
Where do we get him? Ryan, are you from Slough or where are you from?
Not too far from Slough, you know.
Hey, people don't realize I've been to the UK 80 times, Ashley. 80 times.
Oh, so yeah, so you are familiar with probably surroundings of London.
Yeah.
Great stuff. So look, let's get a flash of mics. I know there's a lot of people that want to ask a lot of questions. I'm working my way down as fast as I can. So if we can get these questions nice and streamlined for Tim. Elliot, fire away, my friend.
Good morning, Tim. Thanks very much for your shares this morning. Incredible. It was great to hear your voice, and the way you deliver things is impeccable as well. I always like to speak from my own experiences because it's the thing that I find that I get the best comments that come back to me through Clubhouse, and of course it's real, and I'm not speaking from anybody else's voice. It's my own experiences, things that I've done, and and there's been levels of success in life, and I'm not just speaking for myself here, but I was probably speaking for many other people. When you're in that flow, it works. And I know there's lots of things that you've said, that there's different practices you can put into place to help you to be successful. But when you get a period in life, not just me or you or anybody, where suddenly things just seem to keep hitting you day after day, and it keeps knocking you back, and it doesn't matter how positive you are when you get up. And I know that David Sales Angel I've spoken to before about this, feeding that bad wolf rather than feeding the good wolf all the time. That's the thing that can prevail. But it's very difficult to, even when you feed that good wolf, to get through that period of time. And I know it's work in motion. You need to keep doing it. But what would you say would be one of the best practices to be able to just keep batting those things off, those people, those positions, those things that keep hitting you day on day, when you know you're believing yourself, but you've got to keep going? What would you say is a great thing to do to just keep batting those things off and keep believing in yourself, Tim?
Okay, number one, great question, but also you're a very, very good speaker. I mean, you're nice to listen to. So I think you were probably on before when I love to talk about the law of the harvest. And so many times we think about the harvest, and that's like the dream coming true. But as you guys have heard me talk about before, you got to first plow the ground. So you got to plow the ground. You got to plow the ground. So it's like that Rick Ross song, every day I'm hustling, every day I'm hustling. So like for me, it's 12:32 at night and I'm wide awake because you guys are just fire. So I'm good. But I have to wake up early because I have this discipline that I need to move my body. So I'm going to go. I'm in Laguna Beach. I said, I'm going to go and I'm going to do my run that I'll do in the morning. Then they have a great gym here. I got to do that. So to me, that's plowing. That's at every day I'm hustling. So I'm plowing, I'm planting. So I think every day we have a choice. We have like a bag of good seeds on our right and negative seeds on our left. And I think that if you're not careful when you're going through a tough time, watch what seeds you plant. Because if you're going through a tough time, it's easy to say negative things or act negative or have a bad attitude. And I tell you, the more you get to know me, you guys will see that I plant really positive seeds, and I could be in the worst place. Like a lot of things could be coming at me at once, but I'm still planting the right seeds because I just know that'll take me to the right place eventually. So you plow, you plant, then you water. The water is the repetition. And that's a difficult thing for most people when they're having these challenges. Okay, when that wind is coming against them, the force of fierce, you got to keep on keeping on. So you plow, you plant, you water, which is repetition, and then payday is on its way. But while you are doing your law of the harvest, make sure, again, here we go with partners. We partner with the right people. And that's one reason that I'm on with you guys this morning, is because what a great group, what a community you guys have created, that all of us can get through life in a better way together. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Tim.
Great question, great answer. So let's someone's got a hot mic, I think. So let's work our way down. Give us a flash of mics just so I know who's there. Marvin.
Thanks, Ashley. It's a fantastic conversation, and I think every time you come to these rooms, I think I've been here pretty much every time. You always give another level of value, and I think that's just kind of testament to you and how much of a great speaker you are. So I think I'd just love to build on, and it's Iffy and I kind of have spoken about what she asked a question about offline before. And I think what Beju said also kind of tapped into the same thing. When you've actually achieved a level of success, and you've done a lot of the hard work and you've done a lot of the graft and you've got to the position you as someone else in the room said earlier, I think it was Dr. Habiba, where success is really a journey, and you cross all those key milestones, and then you actually land in a place where you actually are really, really happy. But you have something in you where you know that you can actually go again, and you feel like you've got more to give, but you're in a place of happiness. So it's not necessarily guilt, but and I have a 2-year-old and a 5-year-old also. So I kind of have the vision that I was looking for, but I do definitely feel that there's more in me to go again. And I've sort of connected with on this platform Les Brown also, who said, you've got you're more than you have become, which definitely resonated with me. So I'd love to ask you the same question. I know you've spoken about sacrifice, but when you're actually trying to hit that 6th gear, if you want to call it, but you don't necessarily know what that vision looks like. So, it's easier to give the sacrifice if you know what you're aiming for. But when you don't necessarily know when it's a feeling inside you and you don't know what it looks like, how do you actually gear yourself up to leave a position of happiness and then shoot for that new position? This is my question. I'm done speaking.
Okay, great question, and another great voice. You could do voiceovers. You're very, very good. Sometimes Les Brown and I talk several times a week. That's how close we are. Like several times a week, just about concepts. But let me help you guys with something that I think is so important. And when I say let me help you, believe me, there's things you can help me with. I'm good at certain things and I'm learning at others. But I really believe in this statement. We have to enjoy where we are on the way to where we're going. So we have to enjoy where we are on the way to where we're going. And I think that if you don't find some fulfillment, some contentment, and where you are right now, then we got problems. Because today is the day you prayed for yesterday. Think about that. Today, you're living the day today that you prayed for yesterday. So, and even some of you, it's not so much that you said like a prayer to God, or maybe you had a thought of, oh, someday I'm going to get married. Okay, now you are, and you have 2 kids, but you still feel undone. But you have to stop. You have to stop, look, and listen, and you have to say to yourself, okay, I'm not there yet, but I choose to enjoy where I am on the way to where I'm going. So I think that's so important. Otherwise, you'll be in your mid 80s, late 80s, driving, and you're sitting there living in a Bel Air mansion. I mean, that's a guy that I coach. These people live in these gigantic mansions, and sometimes they're still unhappy, and they're still talking about new ideas, but they're not enjoying what they've accomplished. So enjoy where we are on the way to where we are going. I think you guys get that. Or one other guy used to say, pause for applause.
Fantastic. Thank you very much for the share, and thanks for coming to me, Ashley. I'll hand the mic back to you.
Perfect. Lovely. Great question. Great answer there, Tim. So let's go down the stage. Give us a flash of a mic. Sorry. Yeah, Janice.
Oh, wow. Thank you so much for coming to me. Amazing listening this morning to you, Tim. I was the one, I think you heard, we were talking about success and, living near the beach and whatever. So for me, I'd like to ask you personally, what does success mean to you? Thank you.
And thank you. You're very kind. When I come to England, I'd like to talk to you. You have a very kind manner about you. I think success to me is similar to this idea of what success is to Oprah Winfrey, and that is that I believe that I have been spoken over. I remember Oprah said, "At what point did you know you were Tim Storey?" And what a question to be asked by anybody, but it was Oprah. And this was off camera. This was just us talking. And I said, when I was 10, and this is really the truth. At 10 years of age, when my mother used to cry a lot because my father had died, I thought to myself, I gotta get that sound out of this house. Because my mother was in so much pain, she didn't know that we could hear her crying in her room, that her husband had died. And I thought I gotta get that sound out of this house. And so I feel like for me, success is answering my call, fulfilling my assignment, and cooperating with what heaven has called me to do. And if that's helping somebody's son get off drugs, then that's fine. If that's helping Kanye West, that's fine. If that's getting on with you guys this morning, then that's fine. Yes, all those things are equally as grand to me. That's my answer.
Thank you so much, Tim. And I know for me, you were talking about, today is, the day you prayed for yesterday. And it feels like that for me, because I honestly never thought I would reach 30 because of the lifestyle that I lived up until that point. And so truly, I got into recovery at 36, and every day does truly feel like I am successful today, because I'm still here on the planet and I'm able to do the things I do and help the people I do. So thank you so much for what you said.
I love that. And I just started following you. And you rascals better make sure you follow me.
Guys, mate, I think they all are, but guys,
my head or do whatever you guys have to do. So my neighbor for many years was Ozzy Osbourne and Sharon, and Jack is my buddy. I just interviewed Jack. Well, it's been about a year that I had him on one of my shows. But Ozzy has gone through so many things, and he talks a lot about recovery. Jack Osbourne talks a lot about one day at a time. And so I'd say to you, Janice, congratulations. And life is good one day at a time, isn't it?
It certainly is. Thank you.
Fantastic. So, brilliant. And so
okay, who's next?
We have Doug next. Doug, are you there?
Big shout out to my main man Tim. Against All Odds. It's still that's still the one of the number one listened to episodes with you, my man Tim Storey.
And who am I talking to?
No, I'm not too sure there. So Doug, Doug, are you there? No.
Yeah, I am.
Yeah.
I am. Yeah. The blind master. Tim, it's great to have you on here, and thank you so much for all your insights and your divine intelligence that seems to be pouring through you. I just wonder, obviously the last question came to you in terms of success, and the basic answer that I understood from what you said is that life is all about finding the best version of yourself and then living your true mission in life. What else do you think, in your knowing, do you believe, or not believe, but know, is the meaning of life in your perspective?
I think, number one, that was my friend, the blind master, and maybe you guys can bring him up next if he's not been on your platform before. He does not have his sight, but he does have his sight because he's very brilliant. But I would say that to me this whole idea of success, if we're not careful, what will happen is based on what other people say or based on what we see on a television screen or a computer screen or a phone screen, we'll think that that's what it's all about. What I find very fulfilling is seeing other people's dreams come true. So this is an amazing thing about my life, is that my vision is to see your vision come to pass. So I'm really not joking. Like I love it, like to coach somebody and then they take their business to the next level, or they take their acting skills to the next level, or their sports skills to the next level. And I really believe this, that what you make happen for someone else, life will make happen for you. So today, just try that. Today, serve somebody else's vision, serve somebody else's dream, even if it's just texting somebody, saying something positive to them, or calling somebody and throwing them off guard and just saying something positive. They're probably going to say, well, what do you want? No, I just wanted to just say hello. Yeah, so continue to plant those kind of seeds in people. All right?
Great stuff there. Great stuff there. I've brought up the blind master as well, Tim. Is he one of your good friends?
So creative. And are you still there?
You talking to me?
To the blind master.
Oh.
Yes, sir. I'm here.
Tell us what you want to tell us.
Excuse me, y'all. Excuse me. I just wanted to say that, the Against All Odds episode that you did is still one of the #1 most listened to episodes. And you always do such a great job with all your analogies, and just how you tell stories is just superior. And I just wanted to say how much I appreciated you. That's all.
Well, I want to say that I'm proud of you. And, I had told you the story about Stevie Wonder, because, I've worked with Stevie for, I think, about 27 years now. And Stevie said to me one night, he said, Tim, don't ever lose your inner vision. He said, because some people that have outer vision lose their inner vision. And that's one thing I see about you, man. You have inner vision. You have creativity that's beyond. And I'm so proud of you and what you're doing and what you're accomplishing. And if you guys are not following the Blind Master, make sure you do. He is ultra creative. And thanks for staying up in your neck of the woods and getting on here tonight.
Great stuff there. So we haven't got the longest left of the show today, and Tim. So let's fly around. Victoria.
Yes, good morning. Oh, good morning, Tim. This has been an incredible morning. I've literally just been soaking it all in. So thank you so much. And I just want to say your book was incredible. I actually got it on Audible, and that was life-changing in itself. So guys, if you haven't gone and checked out Tim's book, go and check it out. It is amazing. But one thing I wanted to ask you is, I know that you speak a lot about the law of attraction and really manifesting your life and just trusting that process that everything is going to come your way. How would you, or what piece of advice would you give someone that is maybe at the beginning of that journey that doesn't quite trust the process yet, or maybe can dip in and out of it? I know that I can as well, as much as I really believe in the law of attraction and manifestation, and I affirm everything daily to myself. When things don't quite go your way, as much as you're trying to see what life is trying to teach you at that time, how can you really learn to trust the process that what is meant for you will be for you, if that makes sense?
It does. And good to hear your voice again. And I started following you even on Instagram. I hope I'm still following. Sometimes my team unfollows people on accident. If I've unfollowed you, I will follow you again. But I like what you're doing. I like your content. But let me just say this, Victoria. I think that with this idea of the law of attraction, and I would say that almost all of them that were part of that movement, that book, are personal friends of mine. I thoroughly believe in this idea of seeing those things that are not yet as though they are already. Okay. But I think what happens, again, life is seasonal. Just like we have winter, spring, summer, fall, I'll call it that way. Winter, spring, summer, fall. There are seasons in our lifetime. And so a lot of things that I thought that I would get in my 30s, I did not get until I was in my 50s. And because there was so many good things that were hitting my life and hitting my life. In fact, most of you guys have heard of Ellen DeGeneres. And Ellen, she has a talk show in America and goes around the world. The same people who do her show signed me to do the Tim Storey show years back. And then we shot the doggone pilot, and then they never took the show out. And so in my mind, I saw the show. In my mind, I saw it taking place. But that particular show has not happened as of yet. There's a lot of shows that were different than that, but that one has not yet come. So I think the key is remember that there are seasons: winter, spring, summer, fall. And then don't forget this, is that you must have faith, but you also need to have patience. So faith and patience. So in the midst of the waiting for what's coming, have faith and patience. And always remember this: payday is on its way. No doubt about it.
Wow. So it's been phenomenal this morning. So who is there and wants to ask a question? Let's get a flash of mics. Joel. Guys, I know there's loads of people flashing. Don't worry, I'll make sure Tim comes back again. So we do have time to answer all the questions, but let's go. Joel.
Can I ask you a question? What time is there somebody else coming up in 9 minutes?
No, it's just the show finishes at 9, but we can overrun a little bit if you want, Tim.
It's up to you. If you want to run 10 minutes over, I would do it.
Perfect. Thank you very much there, Tim. So I'm going to let's go down the panel. Joel.
Good morning. Morning, Tim. Always a pleasure to speak to you. Just a couple of quick questions. Reading from your book, and your book has been a great inspiration for me, and I always use it as a source of reference every time I need to sort of, listen to it. One question for you is, when did you realize the gift of the miracle? And I refer to a great miracle in terms of one of your people that you write in there about a girl who got made well from cancer. When did you realize that you've got that actual ability of miracles?
That's a very good question, and I think that all of us have miracles inside of us, and I think that we have the ability to release miracles in various ways, because my own belief system is that we're made in the image of God, and God is miraculous, and so therefore we are. And I always say it this way, that an utmost God did not create almost children. And so in this idea of the miracle mentality, I talk about you have to believe in miracles, then you should expect miracles. And I think a lot of people believe in miracles, but they don't expect them. So I not only believe them, but I expect them. And so if somebody says, hey, my son is hooked on heroin, like, you don't think people do that anymore, but yes. And Beverly Hills, I deal with kids that are doing heroin. So many times the parents are bummed out and they just think it's not going to work. But I not only believe in miracles, but I expect them because I've seen them so many times. So for me, early belief and kind of building my faith and starving my doubts and believing in the miraculous. And don't forget, a miracle is something extraordinary. So don't get so caught up in the ordinary that you miss the extraordinary. And so my faith is that I believe that no matter what the setback is, whether somebody's battling cancer or COVID or some type of mental illness, I'm always looking for the miracle. Well, Tim, what if you don't get it? Then I'm still glad that I looked for it. Okay, great question. Great.
And Tim, I was listening to you on Glenn Lundy the other day. We talked about sacrifices this morning. It was quite funny. But would you give up your Louis Vuitton slippers, as somebody said yesterday on the Glenn Lundy? You're a preacher in Louis Vuitton slippers. Would you sacrifice those or not? It's just a bit.
That's a great question. We all have to have we need to splurge on something, right? And so, because of the fact that I'm a humanitarian, I don't think I'd look too great like in a Lamborghini. I don't know why. I don't think it goes with it. But I still like Prada shoes, Louis Vuitton, Christian Louboutin, and Gucci. So that's kind of a daily occurrence.
You've got to have
That's
something.
kind of a daily occurrence with me.
Yeah, love it, Tim. Thanks very much. Appreciate it.
Thanks for noticing.
So guys, we're going to take a few more questions. Just before we do, just a few asks. Make sure you go and give Tim a follow. He's on the top line in the middle. Go give Tim a follow. Also, just to let you know, all of this interview will be repurposed on the Winners Club app. So if you go to the App Store or go to Google Play, you can download the Winners Club app. So there's content on there from the last couple of weeks and all the mic drop moments, and there will be Tim's full interview. If you've come in late, you'll be able to catch it on the Winners Club app. So Tim's staying for a little bit longer, so we've got a few more questions lined up. So poet Jess. I was going to say it, but it was like a tongue tie, but Jess.
Go on, please try it. Please try it.
Poetess Jess.
Oh wow, good morning. I've not been here long, but this has been such amazing gems that have been dropped. So Tim, I heard you you referenced a couple of scriptures, and one of them that I wanted to ask you was, in Habakkuk 2 it speaks about writing the vision and making it plain, and though it tarry, it will do just what it says. And I wanted to know, in your waiting, in your tarrying, how did you deal with that in that like pruning stage? How did you get through that?
That's a super great question. So she's talking about a biblical verse in Habakkuk that talks about to write the vision down and make it plain. And that works in any faith or any walk of life. It's smart to write down your vision. A lot of you have vision boards. I have a friend named Brene Brown. She's a great speaker and just a great lady. She does a lot on the area of vision boards. So I think it goes back to this idea that I just was talking about. It's about faith and the patience. It's the faith in and the patience. So you say, okay, but what do I do in the meantime before the thing I'm waiting for arrives? What you do is you keep on keeping on. And you've heard this before. You prosper where you're planted. If you're working at a job and it may not be your favorite job, prosper where you're planted. If you're single, be great at being single. If you're married, be great at being married. If you're a school teacher, be great at being a school teacher. And so I really believe that that's been a real key to my life. And what I believe is you build your spot, and then God will put the spotlight on your spot. And so when people say, oh, you keep coming up with great information, the reason I'm in Laguna Beach is I'm just here writing, creating. Sure, I have Zoom meetings and I've had some personal meetings I've had to do, but I'm constantly studying. And some of you don't know this, but I have like 11 researchers. So I'll give them a subject that I'm looking for, and I pay a lot of money for this. But then they'll send me all this research on those subjects, then I study it out. So you build your spot, and God will put the spotlight on your spot. And God bless you too.
Bless you. Thank you so much.
Wow. I'm loving these questions and loving these answers, as I said. But yeah, let's move on to Jal.
Oh, good morning. And thank you so much, Tim, for your time this morning. And thanks for coming to me, Ashley. So my question was something that actually was in your Miracle Mentality book. And it's about faith. So basically you were saying, it's kind of fascinating how age and experience attempt to eat away at your faith. So what I wanted to know, because at the moment my faith is being tested by a personal circumstance within my family, and I want to know, at what point, or was there any time in your life where your ego came into play, and how did you manage to keep the faith even when you were fighting against the ego? Thank you.
Great question. And I just started following you. Great question. Yeah, I battle things all the time. You know, I mentioned my brother struggling. Could you imagine? I'm Tim Storey, and my own brother died from addiction. And he was very handsome, very smart. Like I said, he was an engineer for McDonnell Douglas, and he died. And so that will challenge your faith. There's been other people that I've tried to help, and they've gone a certain direction, and it did not work for them. So that has challenged their faith. And I think that also things that I thought would happen in my life that did not happen, that challenged my faith. And so full transparency is, I mean, look how positive I am, but yet I'm a person who's been divorced. So I married into this amazing family, and the woman that I married, her dad has his doctorate. He's brilliant. He's known in his community. I married into an amazing family, and I needed that because I didn't have a dad, and I loved all that. But the marriage lasted 11 years, and only like 3 years of it was good. And we had counseling the whole time, the last 8, and decided to go our separate ways. Now, that was so long ago that now we're like best of friends, and she even has a key to my house. So that's interesting, right? My ex has a key to my house. That challenged my ego. So I think that in the midst of this faith journey, even the guy that's talking about it on a daily basis being me, I still have my own struggles, but I choose to just feed my faith every single day. So great question. Great question.
Fantastic. So yeah, let's just take a couple more questions. And yeah, if you haven't, and I know a lot of people have, go and check out Tim's story, Tim's book on his Instagram. Go to his Instagram link tree. It will take you straight to the miracle mentality. I know a lot of people have bought it and read it, but if you haven't, it's a must. Go to his profile, click his link, and it'll take you straight to the book. But yeah, so let's take some few more questions. Holly.
Thank you, Ashley. Hi, Tim. We've never spoken before, but I've listened to you before. I'm actually finding it really hard to speak. Tim, I've just heard what you've said about your marriage and about your wife being best friends. First of all, I want to say thank you so much for having written your book, which I am yet to read, and reminding the world about miracles. And also that there are two sides, that we can have all the faith, but sometimes what we hope for doesn't actually happen. But I think there's always a reason for what we go through. When I was 7 years old, I was put into a convent in Cape Town in South Africa. We'd been separated from our father, who we were told had died. He hadn't, so I grew up without my father. But my brother was 5 years old, and he had leukemia, and he very nearly died. And he was slumped over a board in his bath, and my mother was bathing him, and apparently his whole body was bruised from the chemotherapy. Even his mouth was bruised, and he was dying. And something happened, and it turned around, and he lived. My brother's in his 50s now. He's currently in Dubai. He is married and has 2 beautiful daughters. I believe the Holy Spirit healed him. And maybe it was my little girl prayers in that convent, and I wasn't a Catholic. I'm the only believer in my family of origin. Maybe it was those prayers that reached heaven and reached down so that my little brother, and I'm in my 50s too, could live. And he was the only child in a ward of 10 at Groote Schuur Hospital in Cape Town who survived. That was my first miracle. I believe in miracles and I'm a possibility thinker. I grew up in Africa. I'm in the UK at the moment. I've always been a possibility thinker and I've always reached for the light, even in the darkest times. I had a breakdown in 2006 and it's been a massive journey to get back, and to get to the place where I'm speaking now on Clubhouse stages is unbelievable, and sometimes with confidence, but right now I feel a mess. You talked today about being the warm person in the cold season. I'm trying to bring about a miracle in my marriage of almost 30 years. It'll be 30 years on the 14th of September. On the 14th of June, my husband walked out on me and our 2 children in their 20s. And I had a Zoom meeting with him yesterday to speak about the sale of our home. I am doing everything in my power to be the warm person in the cold season. And I'm doing everything in my power to get back into being me, fully feminine, love, connected to God, so that I can be the one to save this family, and I can be the one to put the heart back into all the dark places that became the reality of this family's existence. And I'm doing everything in my power to turn this around. I hope to be able to bring about this miracle for all of our friends and family. Don't know if I can, but I would so welcome your prayers, and prayers for you too, Tim. God bless you and thank you. I'm Holly. I'm done speaking.
Well, I'm telling you, how honest was that? So, Holly, let me just say this. You know, this thing we just talked about, life interruptions, because we're about to close, is a disturbance. It's an interference. And so to have a marriage that is not working is nothing that we would ever order from life's diner. Like if we were at a diner, we don't order somebody's illness, we don't order asthma, we don't order lupus, we don't order I want marital problems. But I think it comes back to this thing that I said earlier, that grace fills in the gaps. And that divorce, when somebody gets divorced, you can get divorced not just in a marriage, but you can be divorced in a partnership with a business. Divorce means divided force, divided force. But before the actual divorce, you see that the force starts getting divided. So probably the force started getting divided a while ago. But I will just say this to you. The same way you prayed for the situation with your family member, the same way you pray in this situation. And you do your best and you keep moving forward. You keep moving forward. You stay with the power partnerships and you watch that your weakness will become your strength. And then your test will become your testimony, because people will see that in the midst of everything you're going through, you're still standing strong. So thank you for sharing today.
Thank you.
Who's next? You're very welcome.
Well, I think we're going to have probably one more streamlined question for you, Tim, and then we're going to wrap up and see how we can support you moving forward. So a nice streamlined question. Let's rock and roll. Sharon, are you there?
I am. Thank you so much, Ashley. And hello, Tim. Lovely to meet you again.
Yes.
So my question is streamlined, but you have been such an inspiration to so many people. So I'm a bit out of breath because I'm walking. But what I want to know is where do you get your inspiration from, or who inspires you? And if there's anyone listening who wants to motivate and inspire themselves, what advice would you give them? Thank you.
Okay, that's a great question. I haven't been able to share this story yet, but yesterday morning I had been running by the beach here in Laguna, and then now I was walking, like this cool down period. And these 3 young kids were on bicycles and they had surfboards hooked to them. And it was one bike, a second one, the third. They're all kids that look like they're surfers with long hair. They're young. I mean, they look like they're 12, 13, 14, right in there, maybe 15. And the second bicycle, as they're going by me, goes, "Son of a bee." And he says the word, he goes, "It's Tim Storey." And then as he's riding by, he goes, "I love you, man." I thought, that was unexpected. I didn't expect that to come out of his mouth. And I didn't expect a 12, 13, 14-year-old, 15-year-old to be screaming those words at Tim Storey at 6:30 in the morning. And then the day before, I was at a restaurant and a man from Ghana came up to me and he says, "Mr. Storey, I don't mean to bother you, but I saw you speak in Ghana. You were in Ghana and there were 30,000 people there and I was there. And I just want you to know." And he started telling me everything that I had shared. And he said, "Thank you for caring about people, loving people." He said, "You really helped my life." So I love people. So whether it's a waiter, whether it's a kid who's going surfing, or a guy from Ghana who sat in my crowd, I really feed off human beings. I feel like we need each other. And I get my strength from God, but I get my strength from his creation as well. And what a privilege to be on this morning with you guys. Thank you guys for opening this platform to me, Ashley, and everybody else that's part of your team. And what a privilege. That's how I see it.
Well, Tim, I think everyone's grateful that you've been here sharing all of your wisdom, sharing your keynote, which will be repurposed on the Winners Club app for anyone. So go download the app and go support Tim. Go to his bio. If you haven't got his book yet, which I know majority of you have, go grab it. You can go get download it on Kindle as well. But yeah, it's let's unmute. Let's give Tim a mic clap for his time this morning.
Thanks, Tim.
Yeah, so look, thank you very much. Thank you very much this morning, Tim. I'm going to wish you a probably nice sleep now. I was going to say a good day, but it's probably 1, 2 o'clock in the morning for you now. So we appreciate your time here this morning. It's been phenomenal, very, very thought-provoking. I've been sitting here listening intently, but that's from me. Paul, do you have anything else to say?
No, just thanks again, Tim, for gracing us with your time. It's always phenomenal. So thank you.
Great.
And thank you to both of you. I mean that.
Tim, it's absolute pleasure as always. So look, go and have a nice rest, and we will catch up very soon. We'll have to have you on again soon because there is loads of people wanting to ask questions in the back channel. But go get his book, go download the Winners Club app. The music will be playing, and then we are out. So I'm going to love you and leave you all. Thank you very much, Tim. Let's get a mic clap for Tim one more time, and let's get the show on the road. So have a nice sleep, Tim. And guys, have a nice day. Have a nice weekend. And thank you very much once again. Whoop, whoop.